Here's a useful clue. If your politician of choice going into an election supports genocide or is silent about genocide, he's not your friend. You ought to be smart enough in possession of the very basic moral faculties to make that tiny determination. Has mommy not taught you that murder is wrong and that no mass murderer and congenital thief is your friend? Of course she has. In the mind of the minimally moral, minimally mentally competent American, America First and genocide ought to have been two mutually exclusive categories. For example, I did not and would never have voted for Trump in 2024. For the reasons cited, I registered a protest vote for Jill Stein. Her foreign policy from Israel to Latin America is perfection. So now you hear various media organs of the establishment, but regrettably some in the alternative space, dazzle you with flattering depictions of J.D. Vance's foreign policy stance. These glowing leaks are almost always based on unnamed sources which have conveniently slithered out of dank corners at this point of the election cycle, and they tell you that Vance, vice president in the Trump regime, has all along roared about foreign policy restraint. If he has, it's the softest roar ever heard in this neck of the woods, more like a meek meow. Vance confines his subversive murmurs to carefully leaked and curated after the fact comments, credited, as I said, to unnamed sources. Let me restate. Israel's genocides in the Levant are made in America. Not once in the course of Israel's carnage in Gaza, in the West Bank, and in Lebanon, all ongoing, have two genocidal administrations, Democrat and Republican, wavered in directing resources to Israel's missions of mass murder, still in full force. America underwrites Israeli evil financially and diplomatically, running diplomatic cover for the Israeli executioners. The US has even sanctioned judicial and UN officials for investigating the crime of Israeli nationals. Sanction being a weasel word the US has coined to frame the theft of assets, the banning of travel, and the restrictions of trade placed on these righteous individuals and countries. Why do you think, among other disgraceful acquisitive reasons, the US has targeted Venezuela and Cuba? Well, because these nations and their unpropagandized peoples support the Palestinians. Can't have that. Israel remains the holy of holies for American politicians. Not once has J.D. Vance ever personally conveyed to future constituents a principal objection to the crimes of his administration and those of Israel. Trump's many ceasefire farces are all a fig leaf for US Israeli resolve to slowly dissolve Iran and with it the axis of resistance to American Israeli hegemony. The pompous Vance even joked that a ceasefire in that region of the world just means that they're shooting a little bit less at each other than they were before. The jocular pompous Vance told the prostitutes present at a June 18th presser. There, Vance also boasted about sending the Iranian economy into a free fall and causing $1 trillion of damage to their industrial base over the last 3 months. Again, by now you know, I hope, that Trump's many ceasefire farces, these being to a hot war that he and his Israeli friends, the people he fillets, started, These are all a cover for the US-Israel resolve to slowly dissolve Iran, and with it the axis of resistance. The Trump regime is terrorizing the world financially, economically, and militarily, from Greenland to Latin America to West Asia to Africa and the Arabian Peninsula. Into this terror regime, J.D. Vance has blended smoothly. Vance has eagerly played his part, seconding Trump's venomous genocidal threats against the Islamic Republic, as well as aping Trump's idiotic, barbaric aggression against other countries. Much fuss and feathers was made of the June 18 presser mentioned, in which Vance directed some words of warning towards those Israelis who speak ill of the butcher of D.C., Trump. But for the butcher of Tel Aviv, Vance reserved the velvet glove. He exempted Bibi from this particular wrongdoing. Yes, he said that Israel can't kill its way to security, but that's the extent of it. These little quips are tiffs among lovers. It's a carefully choreographed dance that American and Israeli leaders do for the benefit of the perfect American fools who vote for them. So don't be swept to sea again, my friends, this time by Vance, whom the corporate media, as well as some in the alternative media, are portraying as a strident opponent of the war on Iran and wars for Israel. All this is nonsense on stilts. Vance has always been stoutly strategic. He's suiting up for the 2028 race. What do you know? Vance has just dropped a book about his Catholicism, in which he proves himself quite theologically inventive, even co-opting his Catholic faith as a reason for his loyalty to Israel. Recall that the man, Vance, launched his career with a smug, self-aggrandizing book in which he slimed his hillbilly relatives, even naming names. The book was very badly received by authentic hillbillies. The establishment, of course, lapped it up. They still love JD. During the 2024 campaign, Vance did the same. He made the right noises, ones the voters wanted to hear, against costly and unsuccessful interventions, as he put it. Regarding Israel, Vance is reading the room again, so don't get played again and again and again. When the powers that be, their publications, and their strategists pool their power to portray J.D. Vance as something other than what he is, one would hope that your psychological warfare antenna begin to transmit robust signals. The reason I say that Vance is a what, not a who, is because the VP is a political production, not a real person. He's a production of the worst pedigree. Vance is a creation of a tech billionaire pack, a tech-aligned super political action committee. Vance is the personal creation of Peter Thiel, founder of PayPal. Thiel is his mentor. Together, the wild-eyed Thiel, and the ugly in-and-out Alex Karp still manage Palantir Technologies. The Israeli genocidal forces and the CIA-backed Palantir are as intimate as it gets, conjugally intimate. Palantir works closely with the IDF's notorious Unit 8200. Unit 8200 produces the killer AI algorithms that calibrate and codify the SS-IDF's mass murder campaigns currently ongoing. Israel and Unit 8200 are the face of this global death industry. The SS-IDF's artificial intelligence products out of Unit 8200 have perfected the auto-kill computer systems known as Lavender, Daddy's Home, and the Gospel. Obscene, pornographically obscene, named killer code that has been applied in Gaza. Coward Cop, Thiel's partner, has proudly spoken of his company as being involved in crucial operations in Israel. Co-founder Thiel and the CEO Cop are joined by former tech executive and podcaster David Sacks, an influencer in the Vance orbit. Sacks is close to Censor for Zionism Elon Musk, who has certainly killed me and many more on X. Both backed Vance. AI traders Mark Andreessen and Ben Hurwitz also hobnob in the Vance hood. Vance's venture capitalism company, Naria Capital, was sponsored by both Thiel and Google's Eric Schmidt. So it's pointless asking Vance to ease up on the Google algorithm or algorithms. Google, if you don't already know, is a gatekeeper for Zionism. Vance's deep tech billionaire backers are enemies of human flourishing. Theirs is a system of plunder. They are self-anointed princes who pauper the universe by their deadly financial, technocratic, environmental, and military pursuits. These people and their death industries move humanity further away from community, from the locality, from honest industry, from real knowledge and production, and into a consumer, bubble-driven technocracy anchored in illiteracy, gambling, speculation, buying and selling intangible derivative products. Yep. As if American communities are not already distressed, the infrastructure alone for AI promises to suck the life out of the natural environment of our communities, where these hideous data centers are planted. Not only are AI data centers an assault on the eye, but they are also an assault on ethics. Their enormous costs are always socialized and their profits are privatized. As I say, the deep tech-backed J.D. Vance is a slick production. The man is an oleaginous political product, astroturf down to the alleged rug on his head.